What's up, Yu-Gi-Oh community? Coach out here, and I'm starting a new segment called Deck Review. Deck Review will be a segment I'll be doing probably twice a week, just pretty much going over the decks, the format, because, well, let's face it, we have a lot of decks, anything can top these days, and a lot of people aren't sure what to run, a lot of people aren't sure what to run, to change in their decks. So I'm pretty much going to be doing a run view of different decks on different videos, and what's making them good, what's making them bad, and how you can pretty much top by making the right build. And this week I decided to use Spellbooks, simply because Spellbooks were decks that were top tier last format, and it looks like they're going to be mad again in this format. Reasons why this deck is good, let's face it. They have complete lockdown control with Jowlin. They stop their opponent from special summoning. By throwing in Haiku, they get rid of their opponent's monsters. They can power up monsters. They have great search ability. The spell cards run well with monsters. And there's a bunch of other stuff you can throw in there, and you really throw off your opponent. Plus, a lot of people have seen the deck with like a pretty much a standard, amount of cards and standard cards to put in the deck. And the deck has a lot of different paths of diversity that it can take, especially in this format, that's going to throw it off your opponent. Another reason this deck is extremely good is that balance that just came around. I mean, the deck lost Judgment, but let's be honest now, the deck lost Judgment, but the deck's biggest opponents, the deck's biggest enemies, will also hit. You got Eradicator put down to 1. You have Thunder King Ryle put down to 1. Everything that searches or hurts prophecies was lowered in some way, shape, or form. Dragons are no longer an issue. So with that being said, I see prophecies doing really well next format because they were already good before Lord Zacian Galaxy. It was really Judgment that pushed into the gods here. That's why prophecies only lost Judgment, because the deck was already good and fair and balanced. Unlike Dragons, that's why Dragons were hit, because Dragons were never a fair deck. Dragons came out and it was all God tier from the start. There was never a point where the deck was just good and then new cards came out that made it, oh my god, So that's why they had to hit it, because if they would have, there was no way to hit it by making it fair. That's why they got hit hard and Prophecy did it. So let's just start by saying, without Judgment, there's a lot of new things you can do with this deck. There's a lot of new stuff. With Heavy Storm being banned, there's going to be a lot of ways people are going to be looking towards getting in the back row. My special suggestion would be, sorry guys, I would suggest everybody go out and get a few copies of this. Mystical Space Typhoon. If not in your main deck, put these bad boys in your side deck, because these are the things that are going to promote back row hate, because this format, a lot of people are going to be willing to set 4 or 5 back row, and you gotta have to find a way to get rid of that back row. So these right here are going to help you. I would put them in the side deck. Another thing that makes this deck good, Rivalry of the Warlords. Now, a lot of decks out there, like Bujins and Doches, they're going to be running a lot of different types. These right here will shut them down a little and make them a little bit slower. And this, plus, without Heavy Storm, when it's set, you don't have to worry about your opponent destroying it unless they're running out with a Night Beam or heavy or MST. Now, these are all side deck cards, and the last side deck card I want to talk about is Secret Village of the Spellcasters. Simply because this is a great card, because if you control a spellcaster monster and your opponent doesn't, they can't play spell cards. But if you don't control a spellcaster monster, you can't play spell cards. Which is, a lot of Prophecy decks have a bunch of spells and not a lot of monsters. But that was because Judgment. Judgment allows you to special summon, so there wasn't a need to draw the monsters. However, without Judgment, I think the deck should increase in monsters, which means more likely for you to have that spellcaster monster for you to activate spell cards. Plus, it shut down your opponent. And I think Prophecy does a good job of shutting down your opponent and locking them down. That's it for side deck cards. Main deck cards that I see getting a lot of play. I'm getting a lot of actually, before that, one more side deck card. This guy, Copycat. I actually main deck this card myself before. Now I'm siding it. I would actually suggest you guys either main or side deck this card, simply because this is a great beat stick. Because if your opponent has a 3,000 level monster on the board and you don't have anything to get over that, you can drop your Copycat and Spellbooks already do a great job of using their spells to up their monster's attack. And all you have to do is drop a copycat, copy your opponent's monster who's at, like, let's say 2,800, put down your straw hall with 1 counter on it, and automatically copycat at 2,900 for the rest of the duel until he leaves, and then he comes back. You can change the attack to whatever monster you have, and then again. But by having him copy your opponent's monster and then powering him up with Star Hall or Power or whatever, you can automatically get over your opponent's monster with ease. So I would really suggest at least one of these. Now, cards in the main deck that I see needing a lot of attention. First, I'm going to start out with, I think a lot of Prophecy players out there should start running Hermit Prophecy. The reason why I say you should play Hermit Prophecy is because for every spellbook card that's activated, Hermit's level goes up 2 and his attack goes up 300. Now, this takes you down 2 different paths of Hermit. You can either power him up to some crazy abilities, crazy lengths, or whatever, get over a lot of monsters with this, make him a beat stick. Or you can do what I do and use him to spark your XYZ summonings along with Spellbook Life. Now, one trick I like to do is if I have, say, my Effect Veiler and Haiku in the graveyard, you drop down your Hermit, you'll play your Life, his attack will go up 300, his life points will go back 2, all the way up to level 5, and Life's effect will kick in. You banish either Haiku or your level 1 monster. It could be Copycat, it could be Effect Veiler or whatever. And then the other one you don't banish, you bring back to the board. This is equipped to it, and it gains the start level of the monster you just banished. So if I banish a level 1 monster and I use life on a level 4 monster, that level 4 monster becomes level 5. This, having its level change level 5, you can overlay something like Hermit Prophecy, which is a great card. You can use Vocosaurus. If you have 2 of these bad boys and you manage to get both of them on the board without without leveling him up, you can get both of them on the board, play 2 spellbook cards, and you already have a 7. Your Hierophant, you can go number 74, you can go Big Eye, you can go Dracosac. And I think Hermit sparks up a lot of your XYZ summoning going into the extra deck. Next card I want to talk about right fast, I'm going to talk about Haiku, the Ghost Destroyer. Now, Haiku is an important card to the deck. I suggest a lot of you guys maybe boosting this up from 2 to 3, because Haiku is going to play a very important role in this next format, because we know Konami has pretty much hit our banishing cards. We're at 1 Bottomless Trap Hole, we're at 1 Dimensional Fissure, we're at 1 Macrocosmo, and 2 Dimensional Prison. Haiku will banish the monsters for you, and this is something you're gonna want, because with decks that special summon monsters from the graveyard, like Fire Fist do, and a bunch of other monsters, a bunch of other decks, Haiku helps by getting rid of those monsters altogether. So I can guarantee you a lot of the decks are not going to be running something to get their banished monsters back. That's why Haiku is going to be very important to the deck. Another card that's going to be important to the deck that I suggest, that people already run it too, is Spellbook of the Master. I suggest a lot of people might even run this at 3, because it copies a lot of your spellbooks. As long as you control a face-up spellcaster monster and the spell card in your hand. A lot of people only run 1 Eternity. By having 3 copies of the Master, you essentially have 3 copies of whatever spellbook book card. And by book card, I mean Power, Secrets, and Eternity. And if you can hear in the background, that's the thunder. You guys pissed off God by banning Spellbook of Judgment. But anyway, like I said, it essentially gives you 3 extra copies of that card. You can really use this card to your ability, to your fullest effect, because a lot of spellbook players only run 1 Eternity, which actually helps, because in this deck there's going to be a lot of banishing with the next format with other spellbook cards, and you're going to need to get those spellbook cards back, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Another card I see a lot of Prophecy players that should run this bad boy, Emperor of Prophecy. This is the in-deck Big Eye for Prophecy monsters, Prophecy decks. All you have to do is have this guy up and another spellcaster monster on the board, and its effect reads, you can banish him, you can banish 1 face-up spellcaster monster other than him and one spellbook card, I think from your graveyard, to take control of one of your opponent's monsters until the end phase. Now, yeah, it's until the end phase and try or whatever. However, you know, you can attack with it, you can tribute it, you can sync with it, and let's be real, any way you get to get away your opponent's big monster is a great way to do it. Now, another card, actually, fun fact, before I even go into that, one more thing about Emperor. He's level 5. Now, a lot of people are saying, oh, level 5, how are we going to get that out? How are we going to get it out to use or whatever? I'm going to get into this in a while because it's going to be I see a rise in high-level spellcaster monsters. The deck usually doesn't run a lot of high-level spellcaster monsters except for Priestess. But yeah, I'll get into her in a minute too. Next card I want to talk about, Gaga's Shield. I think a lot of people should run this. Mega Capital G. At one point I mentioned it, and something I was already running, and he said something about it, and I was like, damn, you know, that was my element of surprise. Anyway, with the back row hate being pushed down a little bit in this format, I think a lot of you guys should run this card simply because what this card does is it attacks one of your spellcaster monsters. Now, it adds extra protection because it reads a monster equipped to spellcaster monster equipped to this card cannot be destroyed twice per turn. So pretty much your opponent's gonna have to destroy one card 3 times in order to get off the board. Now, I know a lot of you guys already know what card this is supposed to be equipped with. This bad boy, Jowgen, which is going to stop your opponent from special summoning. But however, Jowgen it's just too easy to get off the board. Let's face it, 200 attack, Spellbook Star Hall only ups its attack, does up its defense. Yeah, you can defend it with Fate and Wisdom, but I think this right here, equipped it with this, is really going to keep it on the board longer and really hurt your opponent. Especially if you can drop this ASAP, because if this is out, your opponent's going to have to special summon. You already can't special summon, and if they try to normal summon and swing over it, they can't do that because of Gaga's Shield. They're going to have to swing over it a few times. And chances are, the first monster they put out the swing over it, you'll have another monster coming out to get over that. Next, I'm going to talk about Star Hall. Now, a lot of Prophecy players only run this at 2. I would run this at 2 also, 2 or 3. 3, actually, not even really 3, because I think 3 is a little much. 2 is good because it helps you know, get your monsters you need when it's destroyed, and it really, really helps you with those counters. You play a lot of spellbook cards, and this bad boy really ups the attack of all your spellcaster monsters. This is going to push your monsters high enough to attack over almost anything, you know? Especially when you equip it to the right thing, like Haiku is already at 1800. You have 2 counters on Star Hall, now he's at 2000, you know? So this really boosts monsters like nobody's business. And it's really, I think it really will win you a lot of games. Next card that I want to talk about. Spellbook Library question, because I'm not sure, I can't really tell you which way this is going to go. A lot of people are going to drop this out of the deck, or a lot of people are going to keep this at 3. I personally play at 2 because I would draw into it first round. But I think 3 is a little cloggy, and if it's in your hand later, it's dead. Because usually you can have spellbook cards in there. But I think this card in particular, I'm play testing it to keep it around, but I think it helps the search. I think you hurry up and get some certain cards you need, especially like if you need a secret, you can search secrets hopefully, and your opponent would pick into it. Because of the effect we to reveal 3 spellbook cards with different names from your graveyard, and you shuffle them randomly. Your opponent randomly picks one, and that card is added to your hand. The other 2 are shuffled back into the deck, and you cannot play any other spell cards other than spellbook cards this turn. Which I think, like I said, I think it helps the speed of the deck. I think you already get your monsters out. One big thing about Spellbooks is it searches a lot. With Thunder King Ryo being pushed to 1, I don't see searches being stopped as much. I mean, yeah, a lot of people are still going to control Lockbird, but first game 1, they're not going to have that in there 9 times out of 10. Anyway, next card I want to talk about. I don't have the copy on me because I'm ordering it. It's coming in the mail. But Reaper Prophecy. Now, for what you guys don't know, Reaper Prophecy. I think Reaper, like, there's some Prophecy decks that are called like the Reaper Turbo, where they use Reaper and Reaper, and it's like the main deck monster or whatever. That just pushes the deck into some kind of crazy speed. But I think people should run at least 1 copy of Reaper in this deck, because I think what Reaper does for his deck is, depending on the number of spellbook cards in your graveyard, he gains certain effects. Like 3, I think if you have 3 spellbook cards, I think he gets like 600 attack. If If you have 4, I think it lets you search a spellbook card or get a spellbook card from the graveyard. I'm not quite sure, I can't remember right now. But I know if it's if you have 5 or more, you can special summon a Dark Spellcaster monster from your deck. And I think that's going to help a lot with this and this, depending on what you need at the time. Also, I think it will help out by next card, because the next card I think you guys should run is Prophecy Destroyer. I think Prophecy Destroyer is, if you don't add any, if you don't add Emperor, if you don't add Reaper, I think you should add Prophecy Destroyer. And I think you should add Prophecy Destroyer because when he's in your graveyard, you can banish 3 spellbook cards and get him out. And you're going to run a lot of spellbook cards. And this is why I'm also saying you should bump this up. If you bump this up or you bump Eternity up, then you get to play Eternity more often. You can get a lot of spellbook cards back because you're going to be banishing a lot this format. Because once Prophecy Destroyer banishes those cards, you have to get them back or whatever. Plus, if Prophecy Destroyer ever leaves the field, you can get them back again by banishing another 3. So he's like a beat stick that's always to your availability in the graveyard. Now, you don't want to draw into Emperor. You don't want to draw into you don't really want to draw into Reaper. You don't want to draw into Prophecy Destroyer, and you don't want to draw into the next one I'm talking about. And that card is World of Prophecy. I think that card is actually pretty good. At first, I wasn't a fan of it, but now that I think about it, I think it's pretty good because the getting that spellbook card effect in your graveyard, the blowing up the field others in itself, the 2900 attack is pretty good. If you special summon the spellbook card or a spellcaster monster, it gets its effect off, and it's easy when you have it in your graveyard for life. Or you can use the next card I'm talking about, is Temperance, because it lets you special summon your level 5 or higher light or dark spellcaster monsters, and you only run light and dark high level spellcaster monsters. And I think it's going to help the speed a lot because it helps you special summon your Priestess out, help you special summon your Emperor, your Reaper, your Prophecy Destroyer, your World. All you gotta do is play a spellbook card previously that turn. So I think it's an easy special summon. Yeah, it stops you from special summoning after it, but I think it helps the deck enormously, especially in this format when it's coming to special summoning. Another card I want to talk about that is not prophecy related or spellbook related at all, that I think you guys should run, is Foolish Burial. Now, I thought about this, and I'm playtesting with this. The reason I think you guys should run Foolish Burial is because if you draw this before you get your... If you draw this before you get your Prophecy Destroyer, you can play this, get Prophecy Destroyer into your graveyard, and activate its effect. Now, yeah, that seems a lot real pinpointed. However, it also has other pluses. If you have a monster in your graveyard, you have Spellbook of Life in your hand with another Spellbook monster. You can play another Spellbook card in your hand. You can play Foolish Burial. Send one of your high-level spellcaster monsters like World of Prophecy. Play Spellbook of Life to get that monster back. World of Prophecy's effect will activate. Plus, this is why I think Life is something will be more important because it'll be acting as our monster reborn in the format, at least the Spellbook monsters, spellcaster decks. But Foolish Burial is going to spark Spellbook of Life and really help it a lot. That's why I think a lot of people should start running at least the one copy of Foolish Burial. But especially for Prophecy Destroyer, to hurry up and get that out, I think it helps the speed of getting your special summonings of your high level monsters out. I think Temperance and Reaper help the deck enormously because it speeds up the special summoning. Temperance will special summon any level 5 or higher monster. Reaper helps you special summon your level 5. Your Reaper helps you special summon your dark monsters, your dark spellcaster monsters, and you run, like I said, Haiku, Emperor, Prophecy Destroyer, so it helps in that aspect. I think people will go back to running the Priestess builds because I think Priestess helps the deck enormously. Another card I don't have yet, I have ordered. But Priestess helps the deck a lot because Priestess is going to act as your back row hate card. Now, if you don't have your Priestesses, I suggest you go get them now because before Lord of Zacian Galaxy, when people were playing Priestesses, she was like $100 $70, and I see the price going back up. She's gone from 120 something to 100 to 78 to 80 to 60 to 50 to 40. Now she's at $30 something. So if you have her, go to Amazon and get her now. Go to your locals and pick them up now because I see her raising in price because she's going to be the back row hate. She's going to be the beater. She's the easiest monster special summon if you ask me because you can special summon her Reaper I mean, you can special her with Hamper, sorry. You can search her with Just the Prophecy, and when she's in your hand, all you gotta do is reveal 3 random spellbooks. Like, I'm pretty sure they could be the same thing, I'm not quite sure, but you can special summon her with ease, with absolute ease. And she's already at 2,500 attack. She's a great beat stick. I think she's the boss monster that will lead the charge and help Prophecies push into topping multiple regionals and YCSs this format. This is why I'm going to run the deck myself. I'll get a deck profile for you guys up soon, hopefully. But yeah, the main things I just want to point out once more are the main focus of this deck review video is to get you guys to open up to running the high level spellcaster monsters this next format, simply because you're going to need to run more stuff, and a lot of people are probably wondering what they're going to run now. The high level spellcaster monsters are what you're going to run this next format, because they're going to help push them, and you're going to run the Temperance, and you're going to run the Temperance to help push some of these monsters out. So once more, the monsters I think you guys should special summon. Oh, sorry, you should run more. Emperor, my bad. World, Reaper, and what's its face? The Prophecy Destroyer. I think it'll push the deck enormously. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about the deck. I'd love to hear what you guys are going to do with the deck now that a lot of the cards are being taken out from the ban list. So in the comment section, tell me what you guys think. I'd love to hear back from you guys. And as always, like, comment, subscribe. Love what y'all here. Signing out. Later, guys.